July 31st. Welcome, and do I have a treat for you? Grab a coffee and let's get smarter together. It's the last day of July and I still have unfinished business to take care of in the shape of the Tower of Babel. I mentioned it when I started talking about space a few days ago as an example how exploration into the third dimension wasn't desire. But that's, of course, a very literal interpretation of a myth. I'm probably not shocking anyone when I say that the tower wasn't real. It never really existed. What comes next, though, will be controversial. The myth about the Tower of Babel had its origin like the myth about the creation of the world and the myth about the naming of animals and the myth about the expulsion from paradise, in stories told to teach the mechanisms that govern world generation and thus the work with energies inside and around us humans. Like those other stories, this myth was so influential at its time, it was picked to spin it in an attempt to sell the exact opposite to what humans had figured out about the world by a small group of people to maintain their uber-explorer identity. So, what was the original version of the tower? It takes nothing but observational skills to realize that we as humans don't experience the physical universe directly, but generate a model of it in our mind, from which we separate a blob and call it self. Observation also suffices to notice that the self isn't static, and we even have agency about the way how it is formed, including the agency to dissolve the self and take charge of the world generation as a whole. That's something that was always true, and yet while we focus on the self so much, we end up perceiving the intelligence that maintains and updates the model of the world as an outside intelligence, that of gods and goddesses. You can already see the contours of a tower to the gods and goddesses as something a person imagines building within as they practice to hone their self and to release it. But let me mention one last observation that had been possible for our ancestors, accessible. What you work with are energies. You direct them. That might be the hardest pill to swallow for us, but even we do it constantly. We want to get up from the couch? Well, so we direct energy to the necessary muscles, a process we practice from even before birth to make the interaction between the muscles more effective. Any movement and any thought is energy that we direct more or less precisely. And so is any model of a world we generate, any self within it. Here, I think, we are at a decisive disadvantage compared to our long ago ancestors because the spin on the story of the tower was put on exactly to stop us from consciously sensing our energy, exploring them, working with them. Why did the spin work so well? To understand that, we need to go back to the time when the Torah, or Old Testament, just as you choose to call it, was compiled. The Torah is widely seen as a product of a Persian period, probably compiled between 450 and 350 BC. This was a time between empires. Because of uber-explorers' need to constantly entertain their retainers and add more slaves to maintain their identity, the political landscape had broken into a checkerboard of often diminutive kingdoms and city-states that at constant war externally and locked in constant debate within. Sounds like the time after the tower came down, right? The main question was, how did we get to this point? Before people could figure out that the reason were the energy demands of uber-explorers, they gave them an easy answer. I mean, they were not stupid with uber-explorers and didn't want to be made go away. You endeavor to take over the realm of God by exploring your energies and merging them, by attempting to create what we would now call a collective intelligence that talks in a single voice. And God instead distanced you even more by war, by diminutive kingdoms and city-states. Stop working on these towers inside you and listen to us, who speak for God as God chose to speak with us. Get the hint already. It was always a political spin. Explore. Really, explore as an honest think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into the norm again. Like, comment, share, and follow lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. Once you do, we'll meet again at the coffee pot.